coming up this week, I'm going to be talking about something we're probably all thinking about at the moment, and that is running with other people who might be unclean. So, what's that all about? We'll have a chat about that later. Also, just general nonsense, as always. Don't go away. Now, before we get to the chat of the day, I'm going to head out for a run. Now, it's been a bit weird because I haven't been for a run actually for a few days, just because that's the way things have gone. So I'm trying to think actually when the last run that I went to, what it might be as many as 5 or 6 days ago. So it's quite, I don't normally leave it that long. So I'm going to set myself an open goal, even though today is actually a Wednesday and I would normally go for a 5k run if I'm out during the week, just time really, as much as anything. I'm going to try and push maybe for a little bit more. I'd like to go 10k, but I'm going to set myself an open goal, see how I feel, just kind of chill. Oh, it's strange today. The sun is now shining, but I was just about to go out about 40 minutes ago and I looked out the window, big black cloud, thought, hello, this looks a bit ominous, and sure enough, within a couple of minutes, it absolutely chucked it down. My other half, she's out walking the dogs with her aunt, and I imagine they all got pretty wet. So I'm not going to laugh at her when she comes home, because let's be honest, retribution, I'm bound to get wet myself soon after, you know, what goes around, etc. So yeah, that's not very good. She would not have been pleased about that. But the weather app, the increasingly unreliable weather app that I use, said this, yep, 1% chance of rain. Yeah, well, I suppose that is a chance. 1% is not zero, is it? But yeah, you look at that and think, oh, I'll be all right. Yeah, anyway, luckily I didn't go out, but I have ventured out now and the sun's feeling actually quite strong. It's really weird at the moment, this weather, weird. I keep talking about the weather, I must stop it. Anyway, enough waffling, let's get going with my run, see what happens, and then we'll have a little chat about, you know, the world, the way things are after that. There we go, I did do 10k in the end. You know what, the new hat, it's a proper running hat. I did use a hat ages and ages and ages ago, so the summer hat with the people. It wasn't actually a running hat, but this is a proper running hat, you know, breathable, wicking, all the rest of it. So that's quite good. It was only cheap, but if it sees me through the summer, then that's great. Okay, let's stick the times up on the screen. And yeah, you can see it was actually not a slow one, it's just kind of like a middling one. Kind of about, what is it, 103 and a bit. So that's okay, not quite 104 I think. So I'm quite happy with that. That's all right. So I'm happy with that. Especially as I haven't been out for a run for quite a few days. So I was quite pleased with that. You know what I said about the rain and about my other half getting rained on, I wouldn't laugh. You see, these things, they come back to bite you. Because as I was running, I went a completely different route today because I was going to take my kind of usual-ish 10k route. I sort of deviate a bit, but you know. And as I was going, I thought, I'm catching up with the rain cloud. And so it started raining. So I ended up doing mine. I was looking, where's it, and I was sort of kind of scooting round the rain cloud. So I didn't get too wet, just a little bit of drizzle. And ended up going a completely different route. Ended up running through an area where I used to live actually. So it was quite interesting to see how that's changed because I haven't been down there for quite a few years. So certainly not in the bits that I was running in anyway. Now I'm going to keep this video a little bit shorter because last week's video, when I talk absolute nonsense, which I do occasionally in videos, and that went on, I mean, it was over 15 minutes, I think, which is quite long. So if you made it to the end, then, and I hope you did, because I think the best bits were later on in that video. So if you gave up near the start, go back and watch it again, because it's easy for me to say. Maybe it was all rubbish, I don't know. But anyway, it was rambly, it went on for about 15 minutes. So I'm going to try and make this one a little bit shorter. So But there is a question that I wanted to pose. It's something I've been thinking about lately. And I'm recording this in early May 2021. And we're still living in a kind of a pandemic world, but it is gradually opening up, particularly here I am in the UK. We've had a very good vaccination programme. It's all going rather swimmingly. And we're about, at the time of recording this, and the time that this video goes out, we're about to start heading into things opening up even more. And there's talk about things like park runs starting up again. There's events that are kind of being arranged that are still on, that haven't been cancelled for later on in the year. So it's one of these things where you start thinking to yourself, well, I mean, I tend to run quite a lot on my own. I mean, here I am with all my friends. And yeah, and so we all go out running together, me and my imaginary friends. But, you know, seriously, I don't go out into a large groups of people, even with sort of people that I know, because I don't know a lot of people that run that actually live kind of anywhere near me, really. So park runs or events, that kind of thing, those are where I will run with other people. And it's great fun, and it's a bit of a novelty for me because I don't do it very often. So I am starting to think, well, because if I go to something like that, there will be lots of people that I don't know and I don't see, and you don't know, you know, what the situation is with them. And also the other thing I was thinking is that, of course, I'm lucky, I've had one vaccination, but I haven't had my second one yet. And there are lots of people, some will be watching this video, who haven't had any vaccinations yet, and yet they're opening things up, and there are people that are yet to receive any vaccinations. So you know, really, we're not safe until we're all safe, are we, really? So it's a kind of a dilemma. It's sort of, well, what do we do to keep everybody safe? Do we go out? The thing about park runs is, of course, there's no kind of people to turn up. At least I suppose with an organised event where you've got to register, at least with that, they'll know the numbers, they'll know how many people are going. I'm not trying to say don't go to a park run, because actually those events are really important and they need to be supported. I know I was reading in the park run newsletter, they were talking about wanting to make sure that every park run opens up at the same time to stop like certain events. If say one event, two events were like near each other, they don't want to have one going and one not going, because then lots more people might go to the one that is going, you see what I mean? And then that risks lots of people going. So, you know, people have got dilemmas. People, organisers have got dilemmas, we've got dilemmas. So I wonder what your thoughts are on all of that. I would love to go in for an event, maybe later in the year, maybe in the autumn. And then, of course, there's talk about, well, things might dip in the summer, and then other variants, you know, could sort of be a little bit of a, you don't know what's going to happen, you know, later in the year. So I know you can't sort of live on the what ifs, you can't, you have got to live your life, but I also think you've got to be responsible, you know, to your fellow humans, many of whom, as I said, haven't been vaccinated yet. So what do you think? Post your comments below, I'd love to know what you think about that. But I'm going to make that do, because I really want to make this a shorter video than last week, because I rambled, and it really was a nonsense story. But I think if that was your first video, you'd be thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? Yeah, so I'm going to get home now. Oh, by the way, it was a morning run today, which I did enjoy. You know, it's my morning runs. Yeah, I've been talking about that a little bit lately. Morning run, yeah, it was okay. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button as well if you enjoyed the video. And don't forget, there's new videos out every Thursday, generally 8 o'clock in the morning UK time, whatever that is where you are. See you next week.